call the meeting to order. Termination of a quorum. We have 4 members to excuse.
We'll do that in one moment.
When one moment?
In one moment. As our chair and vice chair are not here today under Section 310 of our bylaws, we need to appoint a chair pro tem to preside over today's meeting. Line of succession, chair, vice chair, treasurer, secretary. If we could have a motion to
appoint Mr. Smith. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, now we can go to determination.
Okay, now we have 4 members to excuse today. Our chair, Mr. Corder.
Motion to approve the dismissal, excuse me. To excuse them for not being here for today's meeting. The
And
4.
it also includes Mr. Miller and Ms. Adams.
Oh,
To
sorry, all 4 is what I said,
Yes.
yeah, but, okay, yeah.
All right, thank you.
I second.
Aye.
Now
Motion carries.
we need to a motion to amend the agenda.
Yeah. Now, we have two items to amend the agenda, both on the Executive Director's Report. Item 6 and item 7, one being a SENC Hazardous Mitigation Plan Resolution, and the number 7 dealing with the July board meeting.
Move that we adopt the amended agenda. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Are there any public comments?
No, sir.
No public comments?
No, sir.
Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of May 13th. Any comments?
Without any discussion, I would move
To approve the minutes?
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item would be a resolution. I'd like to have, where's Vaughn? There he is. He's hiding behind cord. Will you come forward, please?
Whoa. You're in trouble now, Vaughn.
You what? You should be able to do that. Okay. All right. As most of you know, I'm sure all of you know, Vaughn, even though he's very young, is going to retire in July. And since we may not have a board meeting that time, we'd like to enter into the record a resolution honoring Vaughn. And the resolution is as follows. Whereas the Cape Fear Public Utility Authority is a body public politic organized in July 2007 by the New Hanover County and the City of Wilmington to operate the water and sewer utilities in the city and county. And whereas Vaughn Haggerty joined the authority in July 2019 as Public Information Officer, later accepting the title of Communications and Public and Policy Director. And whereas Mr. Haggerty brought his journalistic and communications expertise to his work on behalf of the authority, improving and building communications on its behalf across a wide range of circumstances. And whereas Mr. Haggerty was and is instrumental in holding upstream polluters accountable for the decades of impact on our customers, our community, and the natural environment. And whereas Mr. Haggerty has directed outreach and communication initiatives at the authority that have increased customers' confidence in drinking water quality, the reliability of the authority's services, and the value of our services to the community. And whereas Mr. Haggerty's subject matter and communications expertise helped establish authority as a national leader among water utilities, responding to per and polyfluor PFAS contamination. And whereas Mr. Haggerty's work at the authority has demonstratedly improved both the natural environment we live in and the quality of life our customers through his tireless advocacy. And whereas Mr. Haggerty has supported the authority's role in the community and its mission to provide high-quality utility services to our customers, and whereas Mr. Haggerty has helped shape authority role within our industry and our reputation within our community to the great benefit of our organization. And whereas throughout his work with the authority, Mr. Haggerty has demonstrated his commitment to thoroughness, transparency, and integrity in public administration. And whereas Mr. Haggerty has worked to define and promote the authority's standing as a leading public utility in the Southeast and the entire nation. And
I'm counting whereas.
Whereas throughout his tenure at the authority, Mr. Haggerty has been a valued team member and a reliable source for board and staff. Now, therefore, the Cape Fear Public Utility Authority does hereby recognize and thank Vaughn Haggerty for his work on behalf of the authority and the citizens of the city of Wilmington and New Hanover County. Now, therefore, the Cape Fear Public Utility Authority does hereby establish the Vaughn Haggerty Communications Fellowship within the Authority Communications Department. Mr. Haggerty is thereby named a member emeritus of the Fellowship Selection Committee. This resolution adopted this 10th day of June 2026.
Thank you. I don't have much to say, except one, I see you're going to still make me work on this emeritus thing. The second thing I would say is that the first day I got here, one of the things that somebody told me was, "Welcome to the family." And you think somebody says that and you just brush it off, but at CFPUA, it's actually kind of true. There are people who I've met here who I know will be, and they are lifelong friends and just like family to me. So I will miss working here. I'll miss all of you. Some of you more than others, but all of you. And I'll be around. Don't know. I have some things to do next. Basically going to Tacoma to see my granddaughter, mainly. But I'll do other things. So you'll see me. Thank you.
Okay. Now I entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, the next is a consent agenda. 9 items, all of which have been recommended to the board by the Finance Committee at their meeting on the 3rd. Are there any items that you'd like to have pulled out and discussed individually?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to pull item E for just a brief comment about it and to bring to the attention of the rest of the board.
Any others? Is there a motion then to accept consent items A, B, C, D, F, G, H, and I? Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now for item E.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item E, I just really wanted to pull for a comment. At the Finance Committee, I did go on a little bit about this. It just is troubling to me. It's about a sole source purchase for Trojan Signa UV lamps. There are other generic lamps on the market right now. The only reason this has become a sole source is because Trojan Signa says it is a sole source, that without us buying from them, and granted, the dollar amount of this is not huge, but it's the principle behind it, that they can simply dictate that we will have to purchase the items from them or they will not warranty the rest of their equipment. I just find that troubling and running contrary to the concept behind sole source purchase. I know that staff has come forward and said that they recognize that in the coming years they will begin to buy generic bulbs on that, and as the different or this specific contract comes up for renewal in the future, that they will try to work against that. But I see this as the classic camel's nose under the tent, that if every contract we sign requires that we only purchase materials from that company, it works against the public's good. Sure, Ken, I'm sorry, I just wanted to make that comment.
Craig, would you like to, what would you want?
That was a great comment. Currently on the Trojan equipment, the Sigma, they're the only ones that actually make that bulb. We do have other Trojan equipment like the 3000 unit at Northside. We can buy off-market brand bulbs, and we are doing that. So once the Sigma actually becomes market-wide for the actual bulbs, we'll start procuring it. But until then, we're kind of stuck with that manufacturer.
I understand. Thank you, Craig.
Yep.
I'll offer a general comment. As your executive director, quite frankly, it sticks in my craw anytime somebody creates a monopoly.
Yeah.
And we have a similar problem with meters. And one of the things I challenge staff to do is to constantly look for ways to avoid being entrapped in monopolized structures. But sometimes with limited equipment options or limited supply options, we have that problem. I can tell you that we work very hard to avoid it at large and to get out of that problem, as you just heard, when the market allows.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Nope.
Questions?
Well, I guess just because we've had all this discussion, does this need to be done?
Absolutely.
Do we have another choice?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, I want to get that on the record.
Yes, sir.
Because it sounds like this is an issue and we're trying to address it, but you're telling us that at present, we don't have another choice but to proceed with the plan as is currently listed here.
Absolutely, sir. We absolutely need that UV equipment to meet our discharge permit criteria.
Any other comments?
Motion to approve the item with those comments.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The new business attorney's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have 3 items. First, I would like to recognize and congratulate Judy Lawton, our Executive Assistant and Deputy Board Clerk, for earning her designation of Certified Municipal Clerk by the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. This certification is in addition to the North Carolina Clerk certification that she's already obtained. I think it's important to recognize this great achievement for her. She can now be a clerk in any state in the United States and in countries recognized by this certification agency.
Bravo.
No. Second, I want to take a moment of personal privilege to thank Senior Project Manager Kurt Evers, Staff Attorney Mackenzie Coulter, and Public Information Officer Cami Bellamy for their outstanding work on the Scotts Hill CDBG project. Last week, there was a community meeting at the Scotts Hill community regarding this project, where this team met with over 40 residents, detailed the timelines of the project for going forward and getting paperwork in place with the federal government to make this project move forward, and sat down with the residents individually to explain in plain terms what this HUD document was that they were provided, and provide a plain English version to them, and explain what the process is, what it means for them, and what it means for the community. And that, to me, is just a great recognition of what our team does, and I wanted to make sure that the board was aware and to acknowledge their great service and work.
Thank you.
And third,
Hey, Nicolette?
Yes.
Could we have them stand and
Oh,
give
yes,
applause
please.
so we know who they
Please.
are? Yeah. Thank you.
and third, I will need to enter into closed session under North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A3 to maintain attorney-client privilege to discuss the matter of Ivy versus CFPUA.
Okay. All right, Executive Director's report.
Good morning, Board. For my report, I have our key indicators, safety report, environmental report, strategic plan update, and economic development projects update, our 5 standard reports for your consideration, and staff stands ready to answer any questions.
Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ken, on the key indicators, I just had a couple of questions, and if you could help me with. On page 81, my 81, of the key indicators report, it's the turnover and vacancy rates. I noted that the vacancy rate went up a lot to 5.18%. It's the highest in 12 months. Is there a seasonality thing going on, or is there some explanation for that?
Let's ask our HR director to get her thoughts on it.
Thank you.
Sure. So similar to last month, we are seeing seasonal retirements, and then we are continuing to be challenged with skilled labor. But what you are specifically seeing, that is in addition to that you will see over the next couple of months, are internal transfers. So when we have some of the turnover, what we're seeing are promotions internally. And so that then kind of creates a domino effect, if you will. And so then more positions open up. So it takes a little time for that to work itself out. So you will see that kind of turnover vacancy rate stay up for a couple of months while we work through that, and then it should stabilize again. But the good news is we're seeing some internal transfers and promotions as a result of retirements.
Yeah. Thank you. Second point is on page 83, or actually 83 through 85. This is an issue that I bring up periodically, but I think, again, for some of our newer members, it's helpful because it's still difficult for me to wrap my head around. It shows basically that we've processed 23.8 million gallons a day on average of treated water, yet we are only discharging 16 million gallons a day of treated water. So, in my mind, it's simple, 23.8 in, we're only seeing 16 million gallons coming out, leaving a difference of 7.8 million gallons a day. It's a lot of water. Where is it?
Well, I'm going to invite Kevin up to pitch hit for me if I miss anything. But my life experience suggests that some of the water is lost through consumption. So some of the water leaving your water plant is lost through irrigation and cooling tower evaporation. For example, UNCW has significant cooling tower evaporation, and other manufacturers / commercial sites do. So you'll see a natural peak of water use. At the same time, as you're well aware, our wastewater system isn't watertight. We see water leaking in from rainwater and groundwater. It's likely and entirely possible that you're seeing liquid wastewater leaving the system before it gets to our wastewater treatment plants. We have very active replacement projects to try to solve both problems, water leaking in and water leaking out. And it's common to utilities nationwide. Kevin?
Ken pretty much hit all the high points there. I will remind everybody we're in a significant drought. And so even though we don't often, some of our customers have irrigation meters. That doesn't mean that others can't also irrigate with their potable supply. And so it's the season, it's the time that folks are doing some landscaping. And so our water demands are up. I think it was 15% over last year for the same time frame. So that gives you a chance. We certainly have grown as well, but the drought is a big component to that. And then as Ken mentioned, that the gap between how much water we send out and how much comes back to us absolutely is affected by that drought and by the reduced groundwater table and the I&I. And so we know that we have made a lot of improvements in our collection system. We've lined a lot of manholes that were very leaky in the Pine Hollow area. We have noticed flows at some of our corresponding pump stations. The number of runtime hours on the pumps have declined. So that's good. That's good. That shows us we're fixing some of those leaks. But we won't know for sure until the rains return and the groundwater table rises again. And that will be the proof in the pudding there.
So what I'm hearing, it's irrigation and evaporation that accounts for almost a third of a loss of our treated water. Am I hearing that right?
Well, what I think you're trying to share is that there should be a water balance here. Water coming in
That's right, yeah.
equals water going out.
Right.
And some of that water coming in is being lost through consumption that doesn't come to the sewer. And some of the wastewater that our customers send us is not making it to the wastewater treatment plant through natural exfiltration. You hear the word infiltration all the time. When the groundwater levels are low, exfiltration is the terminology.
Yeah, sure.
And we're being very mindful of it, and so are our peers. Our peers are actually looking at this as an opportunity to understand, all right, what is the condition of parts of their wastewater treatment system, and so are we. We use this as data to continue to improve the operation of that system.
Okay. Thank you. Again, it's a lot of water.
Any other comments? Yes, ma'am.
When you mentioned turnover and vacancy rates, I wanted to mention that I appreciated that the executive director shared about a month ago some Moody's reports on the macro environment for municipalities and labor force. And so I just recommend we'll read those. One of the points was that there's pressure on labor because of some macro policies going on. So I don't know to the extent that that impacts us, but it's worth reading those reports. They're pretty good.
And I would note that this board has taken very prudent steps to help your staff retain and improve our workforce, including the workforce development manager position. Thank you again for giving those resources to us to try to address this problem.
Any further comments on items
1 through 5?
1 through 5?
No, sir.
If they're not, for the items that we've added, I'd like to ask Ms. Beth Eckert to come forward and talk about the amended item 6 under my report, Southeast North Carolina Hazard Mitigation Plan Resolution. Beth?
Good morning. So the Southeast Hazard Mitigation Plan, basically what that is a plan where we identify all of the potential natural hazards and things that we might be susceptible to. So that plan goes through and identifies them and looks at ways that we might can mitigate them. That's just a very high level of it. So the overall southeastern plan, we pulled together Pender County, Brunswick County, New Hanover County, and Onslow. All of us that may have some of the same, being coastal communities and that kind of thing, more some of the same hazards that we might impact. So we've been a part of this planning in several different cycles. The last cycle was 5 years ago. This one is the follow-up on that. You may remember last year we brought you a resolution to approve the plan so we could gain more points on a grant. Historically, CFPUA had not adopted the plan by resolution because we were always told that because we're in the county and the city both adopted it, we did not need to adopt it individually. And last summer, you may remember that I brought a resolution to you then to adopt the previous plan. This is the modification. Aaron and Craig have been working with the planning committee to update the plan. We submitted it in the spring. It's now been approved. The county and the city have both done resolutions in the last month to approve the plan as well. So this is our recommendation for a resolution to adopt the plan as well.
So we ask for a motion.
So moved.
Just a small administrative note on city costs, this is showing up as an error, as is the next. The other items are all there, but you might want to correct that.
Thank you.
For this and the next item.
It may be because it's a walk-in.
The original packet, we just adjusted the agenda to make.
It just says error, so I wanted to mention it. Forgive me, I just wanted to.
We'll correct the record. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
So.
any, go
Do you
ahead,
want to comment? I was just going to,
comments? No.
I was going to move to approve it, adopt it, this resolution.
Second?
Does that work?
Any other comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
And the last item is, in my tenure here, I have advocated for the board to offer staff a month of time to transition to the new fiscal year, fiscal. Thank you, Vaughn. Vaughn Haggerty. By allowing us to defer one of your meetings, we intentionally set up your calendar in such a way as if you don't need to meet in July, as staff, we recommend that. We also suggest this is a good time for staff and board to take vacations, so we're fully ready to roll into the new year and to tackle anything that rolls our way in hurricane season. So it's my recommendation that you cancel your July board meeting. If so desired, we would ask for a motion.
We'll note that in the executive committee meeting this month, again, this was brought to their attention, and they recommended to the board that we do cancel the July meeting since the staff had no urgent items. So is there?
I move that we cancel the July meeting.
So motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next are committee reports. Again, the minutes of the executive committee are in your package. Are there any questions or comments on that? Those minutes? Hearing none. The Long Range Planning Committee did not meet this time. And the Finance Committee, you also have the minutes of the June 3rd meeting in your package. Before we get into monthly financials, are there any comments or questions on the Finance Committee minutes? John?
Gotcha. That's fine. It never works for me anyways. Good morning. Just very briefly, looking at our financial position, you can see our unassigned fund balance as of the end of April is at $67.8 million. Can't promise that that's where it's going to be as of the end of the year. We have some of our larger debt service payments that come due in June and also May for the principal on our SRFs. What I will say, though, is, if you'll remember, we are deliberately trying to bring that fund balance up. And that is in anticipation for our Southside wastewater treatment plant. I actually need to start saying wastewater reclamation facility. Sorry about that. Project because of those reimbursement agreements, right? That we have where we're going to be floating a significant amount of dollars on a monthly basis. And there's a little bit of uncertainty about the timing or frequency at which we are going to be receiving those funds back. That's one reason. The other reason is because days cash on hand, which is very closely tied to this unassigned fund balance number, although it's not the same thing. This is kind of a more manageable way in which we track it. Just through natural growth in our operating expenses over time. We are looking at our days cash on hand. If we were to leave that unassigned fund balance at that $50 million target, experience some natural deflation over time. And we want to maintain that healthy level of days cash on hand in anticipation for the large bond issue that is going to be coming in the next year and a half or so. So just a couple of the drivers there. Now, what you'll see, so this is kind of like trended out, a little area chart over time that we look at every month. I have moved this target that has been at the $50 million level up to $60 million. Well, John, how did you come up with $60 million? It was kind of a feeling, a little bit, right? What we haven't done, right? One way to get there, right, would be for us to come up with a deliberate target, and we would actually come up with a plan and charge that through rates. We are not doing that because we have had the opportunity through some settlement funds and also through some of the payments that have come over as part of the Wrightsville Beach consolidation to build that up. So all I can say is right now, this is moving in the right direction. And for optics' sake, what we didn't want to have in this report is to leave this number stable, right? And then show a big excess there, because what that looks like is we're hoarding cash unnecessarily, right? So we have moved this up to $60 million. Why I haven't moved it up further than that, because we've kind of talked about, based on projections going forward, maybe something more like $65 million. What I didn't want to do is move that up to $65 million, and then let's suppose that, for the remainder of the 2 months of this year, we actually move from the 67.8 where we currently are down to, say, $64 million. Well, that means that we automatically have $1 million deficit, which our policy says that we have to come up with some kind of plan to fill that. And I don't think that that's necessary at that time. So all I can say is that we're moving in the right direction, and I think over time we will come to a good, stable target. Okay. I know that was a lot. Are there any questions on that?
I would like to thank our finance director for using his best professional judgment to place the new target for your consideration.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So you don't plan on having a feeling to move it to 70?
Right. So we did undertake an exercise a few months ago, and we talked about it, right? So we looked at our rate model that has a 10-year look ahead. And we projected the operating expenses, which is a key component of the days cash on hand calculation. The other part involves projecting out our unrestricted cash and investments that we proxy, because it's very difficult to project out like a cash and investment number that far in advance, because that stuff just fluctuates over time. This number is a more stable number, right? And it is very highly correlated to that unrestricted cash and investments number. So we did a projection forward, considering the capital reserve for Wrightsville Beach, the capital reserve for the Southside project, all of these other elements of fund balance that kind of go into that number. And where we landed was somewhere between $65 and $70 million. Now that's based on a 10-year look forward. A lot can change over 10 years. The good part is our policy is very flexible. What our policy on reserves and fund balance says is that it's the finance director or the finance officer's judgment to periodically evaluate what an appropriate level is for that number. Now, we could certainly change that, and if the board wanted to adopt a fixed hard number in policy, that would be fine, and we can certainly have that conversation. But as the policy stands now, it is, I guess that authority or responsibility has been delegated to me to periodically look at some of the factors that I've mentioned to come up with that number. And the reason why I'm a little shy or a little hesitant about saying, $65 million is because of that very reason. So 65 may be appropriate over the next 5 to 10 years, but I don't want to lock that in now, because if this year comes in at 64, I don't want to trigger deficit action, right? Only reason. Mm-hmm.
John, I get and support what you're doing there. I'm sure you've had thoughts about a ceiling as well. Now, let's say, as you say, a lot can happen over even a 2-year period or a 1-year period. What happens if the unassigned rises to $75 million? In some cases, I know at the county, we put a range in, and anything above that range or the cap gets specifically put into another account, in our case, capital improvement. I was just curious to think I know you're concerned about the minimum now. What happens on the other side of this? What would happen, and is there a trigger amount in your mind as to what would happen if we saw $75 or $80 million of unassigned?
Yeah, I think at that point we would be, okay, so you're saying that we have collected too much, right? Okay, yes. Where that falls under in our policy is under our one-time revenue, right? So that would be a surplus.
Yeah.
So let's say that we set this target, let's just suppose that it's 65 and we end the year at $68 million. Well, that means that we have a $3 million surplus. And what our policy says is, okay, we don't want to use one-time revenue to fund recurring expenses. So, for example, to avoid a rate increase, in the next year, because once that $3 million is gone, well, then you got to make up the difference, and the rate increase has to be even higher, right? So what we do is we put it back into things that reduce rates over the long term. So we park it in a capital reserve to reduce the amount of debt that we otherwise would have needed to borrow. Or we pay off debt early, which reduces, kind of the same thing, reduces debt service requirements going forward, which results in incrementally lower rates going forward. Or we park it into our OPEB fund, and I can go into the long history of the OPEB fund, and we actually probably need to take some action in the next year or two on that to kind of fill that back up, or you're going to start seeing some of those retiree health care benefits actually being reflected and baked into rates. So, but those are the three main uses, and it's a more sustainable long-term strategy to keep rates lower.
So if I can translate some of that, at the end of this fiscal year, anything above now $60 million, you'll make the decision as to where to park it, either in the Tuscany Gold band there or the beige.
What I'll probably do with that is, let's say that we end the year let's say that we end the year at, let's say it's 65,831,558. I'll probably say, you know what, that's the target. No deficit, no surplus.
Got it.
Because that is around the level that we projected is going to be sufficient over the next 5 to 10 years. And I would probably leave it there and I'd probably round it off or, or something.
I would, though, remind the board that you have the finance committee that receives these numbers on a monthly basis. So you have a monthly opportunity to offer direct feedback to the finance director and your staff about the appropriateness of the targets that staff delegated decision-making set and the trajectory of revenues. So if we determine, let's take your scenario, and for some reason we receive $3 million over that target, we would come back to you as staff in, say, the November timeframe after your ACFR is presented, and we'd have a conversation about, all right, where would that appropriately be placed? Would it be undesignated? Would it be an OPEB? Or would it be in a capital fund? So you have direct control over these items via your finance committee and through that, the board. We do have your delegated authority for a number of things, but there are sideboards you've created for that purpose.
Just to make sure, the end of the year that we refer to is June 30th?
June 30th, but we won't lock that in until we have final audited numbers. That's just kind of been our practice. And normally, I think, well, last year was kind of an outlier. But yeah, I think we normally bring that to the October or the November meeting.
I got it. Just June 30th. I hear you with
Gotcha.
all that.
Yeah,
right.
Oh, go ahead.
Just one note on that is, as we issue debt for the South Side Water Reclamation Facility, I mean, the liquidity is incredibly important for our Moody's rating, so leaving, it may be a strategic move to leave ourselves liquid instead of moving it somewhere else, at least in the short term, so that the rating agencies see our strong financial position in that way.
Right.
Thanks.
Yeah, and kind of all this complication is around striking a balance. Rob, you'll remember that back in 2017 when I came in, the trend over time is this number was going up and up and up and up and up since 2008, and we had maybe $120 million in unassigned fund balance, and at the same time we had issued debt a couple of times, and so I'm like, okay, well, right, let's balance. Let's balance the two. Not to indict the practice of the organization prior, because that is a very viable strategy, right? Is to stack cash and have a very strong days cash on hand, very strong liquidity, because that looks good to the rating agency. Now, the cost to that is we're taking that money out of the community before we need it, and we're sitting on it. To what? To take our rating from a AA+ to a AAA, right? So is it worth it? So we did a lot of policy work back in 2017 to strike that balance. Let's get something that protects us and still looks attractive to the rating agencies, but is also not overly inflated and is taking money out of the community before we really need it.
And I know this is rolling on, but I think this is important for you to hear. We will be in front of the Local Government Commission in July if all things line up. And this body is asking the Local Government Commission, your staff's asking the Local Government Commission, for permission to issue bonds for the Southside Reclamation Facility, but to defer going to market until we have expended other funds, or unless the market turns in such a way as it's very advantageous to go early. To my knowledge, we are one of the first, if not the first, of our type of utilities to ever get that permission, if we get it. And it's because of the good work here, but we will need that liquidity to make that particular action work well. So keep that in mind. We're also pursuing in the General Assembly the flexibility of taking your loans for that project and going from 20 years to 30 years. That debate is going on right now between the House and Senate. And we are looking to solidify the final date of the project. The final date of the project may actually land a couple of months into FY 22. I'm sorry, 32. So in doing so, all of those things have direct impact on the rates we recommend to you next year. And that's because of the good work that John and Julie are doing to try to bend the curve, as we describe it, to minimize the amount of rate increases that we asked you to consider every year.
And that's all I have. Are there any other questions?
Good discussion.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, John. Next two items are action items that were, the Finance Committee recommended we take up under the Finance Committee report. The first one is a preliminary findings resolution for the Southside Water Reclamation Facility. If you've read this, if you got any questions or comments on this? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve this item? Somebody?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is the interlocal agreement with Brunswick County for a regional biosolids management feasibility study. Questions or comments on this item?
Mr. Chair, the way I read it, you got to kind of get into it a little bit, but it looks like we're approving $500,000, split 50-50 between Brunswick and this organization for a study only at this point, not committing to any kind of technology. Am I right?
That's where, well, you want to speak to that, but the study would be to look at all alternatives.
Yeah.
So there are a number of alternatives.
But it does not commit us to anything at this point, even a agreement going forward with Brunswick County.
That is correct, sir.
Yeah.
Right.
And if any other party decides to be a part of this feasibility study, that proportion will be reduced accordingly.
Right. Are we actively reaching out to Pender or any other counties to see if they would like to join in?
We have shared this information with Pender staff. As you know, Pender's utility leadership is going through a transition, and the door is open to the new leader, when selected, to recommend joining this coalition, this study.
Other questions or comments? Motion?
Is a 50-50 split fair?
I'll leave that to
Kevin?
Kevin to answer.
Just checking.
I'll say this quietly because I don't want them to hear this, but we produce twice as much sludge as they do, so it's very fair for us. Yeah, and also there's the opportunity, because if there is a process, if this board continues to hold high the value that we remove PFAS from biosolids before land application, and the study identifies there is a sequence of processes that does that, Brunswick County has a lot of land, and so they would be a wonderful partner for us to host a facility like this on their property, in their county, and for us to simply be a partner.
Yep. It is traditional and entirely appropriate when just studying a topic and there's two at the table to divide the cost. When we get to the more difficult discussion of how costs of the project are divided, then I'm sure what Kevin just shared will become more relevant.
Thank you. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Sustainability Committee did not meet, and neither did Human Resources Committee. And no old business. Any questions and answers, closing comments?
Just a reminder that immediately after this meeting, we will be having sustainability.
Okay.
If I could have a motion to enter into closed session under North Carolina statute to maintain attorney-client privilege in the matter of Ivy versus CFPUA.
Motion carried. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Be a brief recess.
John.
For about 10 minutes.